Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from two important newspapers, first being the Hindu and the other is the Indian Express. The most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for both prelims and mains examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with news topic list. Today is 27th of June. The first news, that is implication of India's new VPN rule, something very important for your prelims and mains, and this is from the text and context page of the Hindu. Second, GST Council verification plan for the high risk taxpayer. We'll see the recommendations of the group of ministers. Third, India law on abortions. Recently, the US has withdrawn the rule. So in that context, we'll see the India's rules. So this is again from the text and context page of the Hindu. The other news, Odisha to install siren to caution elephant movement. And last is an editorial bringing MSME into the global value chain. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based question. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. So the first news of the day, that is implication of India's new VPN rule, something important for General Studies paper 2, that is important aspects of governance, transparency, accountability, e-governance. And again, this topic is important in the same paper and the topic under the government policies and interventions, right? So these two are the topic in General Studies paper 2 from where the question can be framed. So recently, India's cyber security agency, that is CERT, they have issued a new directive that require the VPN stand for virtual private network, to provide and store data for 180 days. This is a new regulation coming from the government of India, and this is to ensure the cyber security in our country. It has asked the firm to collect and store the data up to 5 years. So a span of minimum of 180 days तक की जो data VPN के data है वो रखी जाएगी storage में, and even it has to be stored till 5 years, right? Further, mandated that any cybercrime recorded must be reported in the CERT within 6 hours of the crime. So these are some of the new changes that government has brought in to strengthen the cyber security in our country. Now, what is VPN? अगर VPN की बात करें, virtual private network कहते हैं इसे. It's a service that protect your internet connectivity and privacy online. So this image will give you an clarity that how VPN actually works. So suppose this is a client computer, this is a server, right? For any other methodology, what is happening, you go to a local network, then you even connect to the public network, and then a local network is being provided. But in the VPN, you can directly reach out between server and the client. So no intermediaries are involved. So it creates an encrypted tunnel for your data, protects your online identity, hide your IP address, right? And even it allows you to use the public Wi-Fi hotspot safely. So this is what is a mandate of the VPN networks, and it encryption take place in real time. So these are some of the basic things that you must know, and these statement can also be framed in the civil services prelims examination. So make sure you are aware of the fact that what can be the questions. Now applicability of new rules की अगर बात करें, कहाँ पे rules applicable होंगे, जो CERT के guidelines हैं, that is applicable to the data centers, the virtual private service providers, cloud services provider, virtual asset service providers, virtual asset exchange providers, custodian wallet providers, and government organizations. So these are the areas upon which the new rules will be applicable. Now, the firm that provide internet proxy like service through VPN technology will also be under the ambit of a new rule. But कुछ exemptions रखी गई हैं, like corporate entity are not under the scanner, right? And the Ministry of Electronic and Information Technology ने बात कही है that the applicability of the new rule whatsoever, regardless of wherever they are physically present, as long as they deliver the services in India, they have to keep the records. So this is the new mandate that Government of India has come up with. Now about virtual server, virtual server की बात करें, at the name is evident, it means virtually that a stimulated server environment built on the actual physical server, और ये recreates करती है functionality on the dedicated physical servers. जो virtual है, that is function like a twin, and it has a physical server that run over the software and the user resources on the physical server, right? And visualization server की अगर बात करें, it's reallocate the resources for changing the workload. सो वर्चुअल सर्विस की अगर आप कुछ कन्वर्टिंग फीचर्स को देखें, द कन्वर्टिंग फीचर इज लाइक वन फिजिकल सर्विस into a multiple servers that allow organizations to use processing power, resource more efficiently by running multiple operating system and applications on a partnered server. So this is how the virtual server work for. But more for your examination, this is important that you should know the basic concepts of the VPN also, right? So you can together give a comprehensive idea about the VPN networks and the virtual servers. Now impact on the India's IT sector, जो नई rules आई है उसकी क्या implications होंगी. VPN server leaving India is not good for the beginning IT sectors. This is what the expert of the opinion कि अब जिस तरह से IT sector boom कर रही है post COVID, तो इस तरह के rule companies को यहाँ से wind up करने में basically they would be inclined to wind up. Taking such radical actions highly impact the privacy of million people, and even India will have most likely to have a counterproductive that is going to damage the IT sector. This is what the expert, the stakeholder concerning the sector has raised the concern. Now they estimated that 254.9 million Indians have their account in breaches since 2004, and these have raised the concern for collecting excessive amount of data within the jurisdiction without robust protection of the mechanism that could even lead to the breaches. So this sector is although vulnerable, और वहाँ पे अगर VPNs के थ्रू कोई लोग secure हो पा रहे हैं वो भी बता दी गई है. So no, this would be again giving a vulnerability to a lot more people, but something more conclusive has to be there in the sector so that an individual private protections or can say privacy should be there. Now China की अगर बात करें in this context of the VPN, what are the China's rule in terms of the VPN uses? Although not all VPNs are officially banned in China, only government approved VPN are permitted to function. तो चाइना में सारे VPNs को बैन नहीं किया गया, कुछ ऐसे VPNs हैं जो कि गवर्नमेंट ने रिकॉग्नाइज किए वो अलाउड है. Visitors and Chinese citizens use VPN to circumvent China's Great Firewall, and even they have blocked access to many websites, keywords, and even the IP address. Government approved VPN have to register with the Chinese government and they have to comply with the data that is required during the investigation. Although the procedures, the rules, regulation in China is very strict, but considering the fact some of the VPN have been officially permitted by the government of China. Now the other news, GST Council verification plan for the high risk taxpayer, important for General Studies paper 3, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. तो GST Council की जो मीटिंग होनी है उसमें GOM ने कुछ important recommendations दी हैं, that is again important for examination. So the group of ministers on system reform, that has recommended the verifications after the registration of high risk taxpayer under the GST, that is Goods and Services Tax, along with the geo-tagging of the individual and physical verification. So these are the recommendations coming from the group of ministers. Now the GOM on system reform has also recommended that mandatory biometric authentications की ज़रूरत है जो high taxpayer लोग हैं उनके लिए, and even the use of AI, that is artificial intelligence, and even dealing with the risking behavior for such taxpayer need to be tracked upon. Now कुछ other recommendations की अगर बात करें, the group of minister has recommended 28% of the tax on online gaming. This is with regards to online gaming, casinos and horse racing. So these are the area upon which a flat rate of 28% has been recommended or envisaged. And this is forthcoming meeting which is scheduled for 28th and 29th of June where this discussion will take place. And finally, once it is being basically confirmed, these rates would be applicable. At present, online gaming without betting attracts only 18% of the rate, and all categories now attract a levy of 28%, but subject to approval by the GST Council. Now, the GM on the system reform was chaired by the Maharashtra finance ministers. Now, गेमिंग एंड कसिनोज की बात करें, सो द अदर मिनिस्ट्रियल पैनल जो कि गेमिंग और कसिनोज के मैटर को देख रही थी, इसमें मेघालय के जो चीफ मिनिस्टर है, ही इज हेडिंग दैट कमिटी एंड ही हैज रिकमेंडेड दैट नो डिस्टिंक्शन शुड बी देयर in terms of activities merely on the ground of gaming skill or changing the book, right? So they have called for 28% flat rate in any online gaming and casinos. It has also suggested that online gaming should be taxed with full value of consideration, including the contest entry fee, and when the player who is participating in the game should be also charged. In case of race, GM has suggested that GST will be levied in the full value of the pit pools and the totalizer in terms of the bookmarkers. GM ने कुछ और बातों पे ये कहा that 28% should be levied for entry and access to casinos, which compulsory include food and beverages. So food and beverages भी अगर आप कसिनो में यूज़ करते हैं तो वहाँ पे भी जो रेट है 5% जो नॉर्मल आपको रेस्टोरेंट्स में लगती है, वो बेसिकली वहाँ पे 28% तक फ्लैट लगाई जाएंगी. Now the other news, that is Indian law on abortion, something important for General Studies paper 1, role of women, women organization and population related issues, poverty and development issues. So a recent debate has again risen when a significant step back when the US Supreme Court has overturned the landmark Roe versus Wade judgment of 1993, which gave the exclusive power for women टू हैव अ राइट टू अबॉर्शन. इसको विड्रॉ कर लिया गया है. उसके बाद काफ़ी ज़्यादा बेसिकली प्रोटेस्ट हो रहे हैं यूएस में. सो इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर यू टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज़ द अबॉर्शन लॉ इन इंडिया. एंड दिस लॉ वाज एप्लीकेबल ऑन द फीटस वायबल आउटसाइड द वूम और बिफोर 24 to 28 weeks, right? So this is the basic premise of this news. Now we'll be focusing on the Indian context. So background on Indian abortion law. In 1960, in the wake of high number of induced abortion taking place, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने एक कमिटी की एस्टैब्लिशमेंट की थी, कॉन्स्टिट्यूट की थी, दैट वाज शांतिलाल शाह कमिटी टू डेलिब्रेट द लेजिस्लेशन ऑन द अबॉर्शन लॉ इन आवर कंट्री. दिस कमिटी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इफ यू आर राइटिंग इन मेंस पेपर, मेक श्योर you are giving, you're quoting this committee, right? So in order to reduce the maternal mortality, this law was there, and even government has come up with this committee. They have recommendations, the medical termination of pregnancy, also known as MTP Act, right? That was brought into action in 1971. So this law is an exceptions to Indian Penal Code, जहाँ पे कुछ provisions के अलावे बाकी सारी चीजें exempted थी. 313 set out to be the rules how and when medical abortion can be carried on. So certain guideline was also provided with regards to Article 312, 313 of the IPC. Now something more about Section 312 and 313. Under Section 312 of the Indian Penal Code, a person who is voluntarily causing a woman with a child to miscarry shall be liable for punishment, right? And even it called for a jail of 3 years or fine or both. अगर वो खास करके miscarry की जा रही है, until it is taken in a good faith, whether a purpose to save of a life of a pregnant woman is not involved. If it is done for any other purposes, for like after gender identification, many people go for miscarriaging. This is not allowed in India. तो जो रूल्स हैं 312 में, उसमें क्लैरिटी मेंशन किया गया है. अगर वो गुड फेथ में नहीं की गई है, एक वुमेन की लाइफ सेविंग के लिए नहीं की गई है, then that would be liable for a fine, right? Now, under Section 313 of the Indian Penal Code, state that a person who cause miscarriage without the consent, mark my word, consent, without the pregnant woman, whether or not he or she advises the stages of pregnancy, shall be punished with an imprisonment. Life imprisonment हो सकती है, jail हो सकती है, that could be extended to 10 years as well as fine. So these are the two check and balances with the rules that has come up. तो आपके लिए दोनों जो section है 312 और 313 important. Now how the MTP Act from 1971 to 2001 has evolved. So the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act was made in 2021. Amendment की गई, latest amendment. And before that rule, it was actually introduced in 2003. that allowed to use them the newly discovered abortion medicine, that is mispistrol, that is medically terminated to pregnancy up to 7 weeks on it. ब्रॉडर अमेंडमेंट लाई गई फिर इस एक्ट में जो कि इंट्रोड्यूस किया 2020 में, एंड द अमेंडमेंट वाज ब्रॉट इन सितंबर 2021. आई विल जस्ट मेक यू अंडरस्टैंड क्या क्या चेंजेस किए गए हैं नए अमेंडमेंट्स में. Now, under the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 2021, sorry, this is 2021, abortion is permitted after the medical opinion of the stipulated circumstances. तो medical opinion की जरूरत पड़ती है, एक बोर्ड बनेगी जो कि recommend करेगी whether the abortion should be carried out or not. Now, the act increases the upper limit for the gestation period that can seek by the medical board, और ये इसको बढ़ा करके 24 weeks कर दी गई है from the previous 20 weeks that was permitted in 1971. Now, the new amendment that has been brought under the MTP amendment. So, the medical termination of pregnancy is permitted if backed by the medical opinion, and it is being sought at least for the following reason. First, if the continuation of pregnancy would involve the risks to the life of the pregnant woman, अगर उसकी continuation किसी भी तरह से women के life को danger करती है, then it is allowed. Second, if continuation would result in the grave injuries to women physical and mental health, then it is allowed. Third, in case of substantial risk to the child that is born and if was suffered for the serious physical and mental abnormality. तो ये कुछ ऐसे conditions हैं जहाँ पे MTP Act को amend की गई है और इनको allow किया गया that they can go and proceed with the abortion process. Now, condition for the termination of pregnancy. The pregnancy can be terminated upon 24 weeks of the gestation after the opinion was being given by the medical practitioner की जो board है उन्होंने अगर recommend किया then only you can get. So what are the conditions? If a woman either a survivor of a sexual assault, rape or incest, if she is a minor, if her marital status is changed during the ongoing pregnancy, either she is widowhood or divorcee, and if she has a major disability or mentally ill. Why I'm discussing this? Because see, conditions is important, right? If a question is framed in prelims or if you're writing in mains paper, you can even highlight that these are the criteria, right? So the ground for the fetal malinformation incompatible with the life if the child would born would be serious handicap. तो कुछ अगर ऐसे implications होते हैं जो बच्चे के birth के बाद उसके life को काफ़ी ज़्यादा danger कर सकती है, उस condition में भी termination allowed है. And if a woman in a humanitarian setting or disaster और इन इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन डिक्लेयर्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट, अगर कोई ऐसी इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर की गई है, कोई ऐसे सिचुएशंस पे हैं, उस समय भी ये चीज़ें अलाउड की जाएंगी. नाउ जुडिशियल इंटरवेंशन इन दिस रिगार्ड. सो डिस्पाइट द फैक्ट दैट द एक्ट इज प्रमोटिंग द अनकंडीशनल अबॉर्शन, एक लैंडमार्क जजमेंट है केएस पुट्टास्वामी जहाँ पे राइट टू प्राइवेसी को लेकर के बात की गई है. एंड सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज सेड दैट द प्रेग्नेंट पर्सन should continue with the pregnancy or not. This is his or her personal right? This is a personal right, and therefore the right to life and personal liberty is there envisaged under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. The Supreme Court ने categorically right to privacy backed by Article 21 के लिए basically ये बातें intervene की थी. Now, criticism against the abortion law. According to 2018 study, Lancet में पाया गया that 15.6 million abortion were taking place in India since year as of 2050. और जो MTP Act है that says that the performance only by doctor specialized which is from the gynecology and obstetrics, जो इस particular field से belong करते हैं उनको ही allow करना चाहिए abortions के लिए. However, the Ministry of Health and Welfare in its report has said that the rural health statistics indicates that 70% of the shortage of the doctors belonging to the gynecology and obstetrics. तो काफ़ी ज़्यादा problems है रूरल एरियाज में भी गायनिकोलॉजी डॉक्टर ना होने की वजह से वहाँ पे अबॉर्शंस भी नॉर्मल की जा रही है, जिसकी वजह से भी मेटर्निटी रेट काफ़ी ज़्यादा बढ़ी है. सो स्टैटिक्स पुट द नंबर दैट अनसेफ एंड इलीगल अबॉर्शन परफॉर्म हैज लेड टू ऑलमोस्ट 8 lakh of maternal mortality. So this is a high number and this thing need to be taken a caution. Now the other news, Odisha to install siren to caution elephant movement, important for general studies paper 2. Conservation, environmental pollution, degradation, EI. So in an endeavor to reduce the human-animal encounters or conflict, the Forest Department of Odisha is experimenting with the siren system for the first time. This would go off automatically जब अगर elephant किसी भी हाईवे पे क्रॉस करेंगे उस एरिया में आने से पहले ही सायरन इंप्लीमेंट होगी, सो दैट they could be aware, and this siren will just call for them to reside on the boundaries or area that align with. So the forest department in Odisha, in association with a non-governmental organization, have started a pilot project on a siren system to alert traffic and elephant movement. Now the siren detect the elephant herd approaching national highway by infrared sensor system. Now, this is an built where identify of the jumbos, उनके size पे depend करेगी, like accordingly the siren sound would be functioning. Once detected, the siren would go off, alarming the traffic from both sides. Now, prevention measures की अगर बात करें, गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ और important measures भी लिए हुए हैं. As a part of cropping season, it has been seen that elephant would start coming out of the forest. और खास करके अगर दिनकाल फॉरेस्ट डिविजन्स की बात करें, दे हैव आइडेंटिफाइड 5 क्रॉसिंग पॉइंट ऑफ द एलिफेंट्स. Similarly, Khadi Village Industries Commission is implementing the apiculture program to keep elephant bay in the neighboring Angul district. Right? इसके थ्रू खास करके बीज रखी जाएंगी बॉक्स में, और अगर एलिफेंट बाहर आते हैं तो बीज would hit them, which will definitely call for them to move back to the area. Right? So CCTV cameras will also be installed to capture the reaction of the elephants. So these are some of the preventive measures that is taken care. Now moving to the editorial of the day, bringing MSME into the global value chain. Important for General Studies Paper 2, government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from it, design and implementations. So under this editorial, I'll be simplifying this editorial by 6 important subheads, that is meeting standard, government measures, international support, digitalization concern, job creation and the way forward. The entire editorial talks about the revival of the MSME sectors. MSME की अगर बात करें, it's play a crucial role in holistic development and growth of the Indian economy, and it has a substantial contribution of around 34% to our GDP. Right? So MSME account for over 99% of the business, and MSME is the largest employer in basically India outside agriculture. Over 11.1 crore people are employed and 45% of workers are there. So the disruption in the pandemic have severely impacted the micro, small and medium enterprises, especially with the service sectors people. Now meeting standards की बात की गई है कि क्या important standards meet करने की जरूरत है. The meeting standard concerned with the MSME that operate at the highest level of the industries, right? तो एक high standard की जरूरत है. Most of the industries are not meeting them, जहाँ पे productivity, environmental sustainability, health और worker risk के बारे में ध्यान नहीं दिया जा रहा. The further exacerbated by the high degree of informality in the sector, and many enterprises that is unregistered both with the employees and worker are lacking awareness and commitment to comply with the labor laws and environmental laws. So it is important to save the environment, and at the same time it is equally important to save the right of the laborers. किसी भी laborers को खतरे में रख के काम करवाना भी बिल्कुल government allow नहीं करती. Now the government measures, basically government of India has rightly identified the development areas for the MSME, and it has launched Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, that is Atmanirbhar Bharat or Self-Reliance India. The ambitious program of Make in India campaign, which was not that successful, but again it was launched to boost up the manufacturing supply chain in our country, जो पूरी value chain है, और global hub बनाने के लिए India. Such initiative also include प्रोडक्शन लिंक इंसेंटिव स्कीम, जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत सारे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर्स, ऐसे कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट एरियाज को आइडेंटिफाई की गई जहाँ पे PLI दी गई. नाउ रिसेंटली लॉन्च्ड जीरो डिफेक्ट सर्टिफिकेशन टू हेल्प प्रमोट boosting this sector. So if you're writing in mains paper, you need to ensure that you are highlighting all these important measures taken by the government of India. Now international support की अगर बात करें, to help accelerate the process, UN system in India that's supporting the other MSME development at the local, state and national level. Such agencies like United Nations Industrial Development, International Labour Organization, United Nations Development Program, UN Women, IFAD, ऐसे कुछ important organization है जिन्होंने post कोविड के बाद ये कहा है that large scale transition should be declared, digitalization process होनी चाहिए, greening and recognition of value chain should be there at the larger extent. Now digitalization को लेकर के कुछ concern है. There is a need to replicate the digital solution which is adopted by the MSME और यहाँ पे डिजिटल इन्हांसमेंट के लिए ज़रूरी है दैट सारे मशीनरी जो इक्विपमेंट करेंटली यूज होते हैं वो एडवांस लेवल पे हों, एंड इवन द पीपल यूजिंग शुड the people who is actually executing the using it should be thorough with the concept or how to use it. The government initiative such as digital structure, or you can say digital, other part is Udyam, E-Shram, National Career Services, Atmanirbhar Skill Employment Mapping. ये कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट स्कीम है जो कि पूरी तरह से गवर्नमेंट इम्प्लीमेंट की है, बट प्रैक्टिकलिटी द बेसिकली जो पीपल आर इन्वॉल्व इन दिस पर्टिकुलर बेनिफिशियरीज आर लो. सो वी नीड टू इंश्योर दैट जो नंबर्स हैं वो और हों ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों को इसके बेनिफिट्स मिले. Now, job creation is a big issue. The Pradhan Mantri, or you can say the Prime Minister, Employment Generation Program is also creating an opportunity for self-employment of the micro small enterprises, with 7 lakh micro enterprises assisted becoming the economic viable. Similarly, ILO, that is the collaboration with the Federation of Indian Chamber, have said that they would be also supporting in MSME creations, where it will call for 150 MSME to improve the productivity, right? So this is to ensure that maximum peoples are getting job in the MSME sectors. Now, way forward की अगर बात करें, even every year 27 June is celebrated as World Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Day, which provide us with an opportunity to appreciate the value distributions and creation for the sustainable development, basically for the industries, for the development of the world, and for the development of the nation. Now, forward-looking mindset can clearly make a policymaker at the society level, which is recognizing the support of the socio-economic role of the MSME that can play a very important role. Now, moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's question. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, the correct option is C. Today's MCQ for practice, Dictionia, which was sometime recently seen in the news, is located in Bhimbetka Rock Shelter, Ellora Cave, Ajanta Cave, or Elephanta Cave. So do check it out for the correct option. Second question of the day, MK1 Arjuna tank is developed and manufactured by CVRDE and DRDO. The project main Arjuna battle tank has started by DRDO in 1972. So you need to know the background also, how this is actually functioning. So do check it out for the correct option. And this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.